We are the Thunderbolts! I love doing that voice. Alright, so Thunderbolts asterisk has been in theaters for about a weekend now. Hopefully you've had a chance to go see it. If not, well, you might not want to stick around for this video, because this is going to be my spoiler talk. So of course that is going to be your spoiler warning. For those of you who have not seen this movie and are planning on it, just know that I will be talking about what happens in this movie in detail, so this will be breaking the experience of seeing this movie for the first time. For those of you who have seen this movie or do not care about it, well, you got the green light. Alright, that is your spoiler warning. Let's get started. Actually, before I dive into this movie, I do want to touch on the fact that there are no real connections it has to Daredevil Born Again Season 1, which was the last MCU title we got before this movie came out, and it takes place in New York, which a good chunk of this movie also does, so I thought there might be some form of crossover, but no, not really. The events of the Daredevil Born Again Season 1 finale don't really link into this, which I guess it doesn't really matter, it didn't really have to, but I am wondering if the events of this movie are gonna affect things going forward in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, because I get the feeling that Mayor Fisk might have a thing or two to say about it, just saying. Anyway, now that that's done, let's dive into this movie, Thunderbolts. So we learned that Congress is trying to impeach Valentina Allegra de Fontaine from her position as director of the CIA, because they caught wind that she is conducting some dangerous experiments on people. She's doing some shady stuff, so yeah, she gotta go. It's great too, she's like straight up bluffing to Wendell Pierce. She's like, yeah, you're gonna have to dig through every nook and cranny to find something against me. Cut to her a minute later, she's like, shit, that was funny. And so yeah, she tries to hide all her evidence by gathering it all up in one Ox laboratory in Utah and incinerating it. Yeah, I guess we got Ox Corp now. I guess that's from the comics, I don't know. So this is where our characters meet and fight each other. Well, most of them anyway, the bulk of them. It's funny too, because they're all after different members of this group. Like, they've all been assigned to kill different people. Elena Belova's been assigned to kill Ghost, who's been assigned to kill Taskmaster, who's been assigned to kill US Agent, who's been assigned to kill Yelena. So they're all fighting each other, and of course, hilarious thing, Taskmaster fucking dies. Just gets shot in the head by Ghost. I was like, alright, bye-bye, I guess. Yeah, that was a popular theory among fans leading up to this movie. Since Taskmaster was not in a lot of the marketing, it's like Slipknot and Suicide Squad all over again. We all figure, yeah, she's just gonna die early on. She's never really even part of the team. She does have one line, which is one more than she had in Black Widow, where she takes off her cool looking mask, she looks at Yelena, she's like, I'm not here for you. I was like, oh, she talks now. And then she dies. Rest in peace, I guess, Antonia Dreykov. Maybe now Marvel Studios can, in fact, have another swing at Taskmaster and do the character right in this case. Tony Masters, let's go. Cause yeah, I'd love to see that still. Maybe in a Spider-Man movie, that'd be cool. Although I guess that'd really be up to Sony, but in any case, it's here where these four anti-heroes now meet Bob Reynolds, who, yeah, I guess he came from the box that Yelena accidentally activated by bumping into it. And so these five now end up having to work together to get out of there, which they do, which is funny. Like, when they're going up the tower and they're doing the right, left, right thing, who else thought of the Emperor's New Groove? Yeah, raise your hand. I know you did. Power to ya. But yeah, it turns out Bobby here's got some powers, and some pretty OP ones at that. I mean, we see what he can really do later on, because not only does he have some pretty strong powers, but some pretty dark ones as well. We see that when he comes into physical contact with someone, the person he touches experiences their darkest memory. I guess he makes people relive their most shameful moments, which, yeah, that is pretty messed up, but that does come from his mind. Yeah, this is the Project Sentry, which is the reason for the whole impeachment campaign against Val. One question that did go unanswered, though, is what exactly happened to Bob? Like, what gave him these powers? Yeah, the experiments, but that's too, like, vague for me. I want to know exactly like what kind of experiments they were doing. What gave him the ability to fly? What gave him invincibility? What gave him the ability to turn people into shadows? What did that? Yeah, they never really get specific about that. So I don't know. And I guess Bob doesn't know either, because he doesn't really know the full extent of his power yet. I mean, he levitates up into the sky and then he comes crashing down. So he's captured by Val and her team. Meanwhile, our heroes do successfully escape, and they're picked up by Red Guardian, which this is a pretty great scene where they're driving in the limo. The dialogue here is really good, really funny. And we learn the meaning behind the name Thunderbolts. That was the name of Yelena's Pee-wee soccer team from when she was a kid, back when she was a Russian spy posing as an American. We saw that in Black Widow. Yeah, her soccer team, I guess, was the West Chesapeake Valley Thunderbolts, so I guess that stuck around. Eventually, these five are found and taken in by Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. So yeah, his term as congressman is over. Sucks to suck. It's funny, because at first he's there to take them in, to show as evidence against Valentina in the impeachment campaign, but then he gets that call from Mel, who is Val's assistant, Mel Gold, played by Geraldine Viswanathan. She's like, yeah, Bucky, Val's gone off the rails. Project Sentry and Bob, and Bucky's like, ah, shit. Alright guys, you're coming with me. We gotta take out Sentry.
Wait, us?
Yeah, you.
And so they go to New York City, where we finally officially see what happened to Avengers Tower. Cause that's been a question mark since at least like 2017. We saw in Spider-Man Homecoming that Tony Stark sold Avengers Tower. That's cause they moved up to Avengers Compound in upstate New York. So who bought Avengers Tower? We haven't known the answer to that for like 7 years. Well, now we know. It's become the Watchtower, which yeah, that is a thing from the comics, Sentry's Watchtower. But in this case, it's Val's Watchtower, I guess. Although apparently it's gonna be Avengers Tower again by the end of this movie, but we'll get to that. And so it's here where we learn Val's true intentions, which are just no good.
Just think, I send you down there to kill each other, and instead, you make nice and you form a team.
I mean, we did learn a good part of them a little earlier when she was talking to Mel, where she's like, you grow up thinking that there are good guys and bad guys, but you eventually learn that there are just bad guys and worse guys. Righteousness without power is just an opinion. I was watching that scene and I was like, oh god, no, Val, no. But she does, however, bring up a good point when she says the Avengers are no longer around, which I will intervene and say that that's not entirely true. Thor's still out there doing stuff. Spider-Man should be out there. Hulk is still around, Ant-Man's still around, so there are still Avengers in the world. They're just off doing their own things, I guess. But Val's like, yeah, the Avengers are no longer around. We need a new face. We need a new hero that can be merchandised. I was like, doesn't The Boys touch on this? I don't know, because I don't watch that show. But in any case, she brings out Sentry. Bob Reynolds suiting up, looking sharp. That is a pretty cool looking comic accurate Sentry suit, gotta say. And yeah, this leads to my favorite action scene in the movie. This is the one I was talking about, where Sentry just wipes the floor with the Thunderbolts. Cause it's awesome, Sentry's moving like lightning fast. You realize pretty quickly that, yeah, oh my god, he pretty much is Marvel's version of Superman. If Superman also had a darker ego and the powers of the Force. I mean, he's flying up in the air and smashing people into walls. I love that a good chunk of it was done in one take. I was like, how was that done? That was awesome. And so the team gets out of there, and what happens next is also really great, because Bob's like, well, why do I have to answer to you, Val, exactly? He gets a god complex, because he's like, I am pretty much a god. You said it yourself. You said that I'm more powerful than all the Avengers rolled into one. The Avengers includes at least one god. So why do I, a god pretty much, have to answer to anyone? That's great, because it's not wrong. Just saying. And so his darker side takes over, and he becomes the Void, which, yeah, is pretty damn scary. I mean, visually, he's not my favorite villain design, I'll be honest, because he's pretty much just a silhouette with 2 white dots as eyes, and one point where you could see his teeth when he smiles. But powers-wise, oh my god. He's going around New York City turning people into shadows and spreading the big shadow over the city. At a point, I was like, this is gonna take over the world if we don't stop him. Yeah, every time someone turned into a shadow, I was like, geez, that's effective. It was scary. Good job, Thunderbolts movie, for making me fear the villain. And really, this is where we get into the meat of the core of the point of this story. Because really, it's just one big metaphor for depression and mental illnesses. Because they're always talking about the emptiness, the void inside you. That's Yelena Belova's whole thing in this movie, is that she finds herself without a real purpose in life. Like I said, she's just kind of wandering aimlessly. This is how she eventually connects with Bob, because she pretty much volunteers. She walks into the shadow, which, yeah, when she herself turned into a shadow there, I was like, oh god, crushed the hell out of Red Guardian's soul. He went nuts, justifiably. He does still see her as his daughter after all. So she goes in there, she once again relives her darkest moments, which actually, this is something I didn't even know until I found out. The little girl who plays young Yelena, that's Violet McGraw, aka Katie from Megan. Yeah, good for her. Anyway, Yelena pushes through her own memories. That's where she finds Bob in his memory room, where we see his fucked up past. We learn that he was a meth addict with an abusive father and a mother with mental illnesses of her own, and so that's how they connect. And really, that's the whole point of this whole team. They all have fucked up pasts and regrets, but that doesn't have to define them. They can make good choices now, and so that is what they decide to do. And yeah, I've heard some people call this climax of the movie anticlimactic because it's not a big spectacle action scene, but I actually really appreciate that about this Marvel movie. Cause yeah, most of them do end with big spectacle action scenes. This one doesn't. It culminates on a more emotional note, and it's done really well in my opinion. And so Bob comes to his senses, silences the Void for now, because the Void is its own entity. It's kind of like how the Hulk was at first. It's a Jekyll and Hyde type situation, or at least that's what I'm getting from this. And so the movie ends where the team is about to take Val in, but I guess she had this whole press conference ready on the other side of that wall. That was fast. How'd she pull that off? I don't know. But yeah, she pretty much takes credit for this team saving the day, because she's like, thanks to my hard work, the day has been saved. Introducing the New Avengers. Yep, that's what they are called now, I guess. And yeah, that is the asterisk at the end of Thunderbolts here in this title. Thunderbolts? No, their actual team name now is the New Avengers. Which, this is hilarious how this scene ends, because Yelena goes up to Val and she pretty much turns the tables on her, because she's like, we own you now. And you see the look on Val's face, she's like, oh shit, that backfired. I love that. Cause yeah, now they are public figures, so if Val steps 1 foot out of line, they could easily expose her for everything and take her in. That's genius. And I do love how the credits show the public perception of this New Avengers team, cause the world is pretty much like, Huh? What do you mean, New Avengers? Who are these weirdos? I love it. At one point it says, the heard round the world. This, in my opinion, is like one of the best end credit sequences we've gotten in an MCU movie in a while. Because it is actually part of the narrative. It tells a little bit more of the story. I love it when credit sequences do that. And so we get to the credit scenes. Like I said, the mid-credit scene is just because it's just a joke. The New Avengers have made it onto the Wheaties boxes, and Red Guardian's like, huh? Huh? Okay. But the post-credit scene, now we're talking, because it's pretty long. It's a few minutes long. So couple things to unpack here. We see that, yes, the New Avengers have taken over the tower with that fuck-ass New Avengers logo. Seriously, what is that? Really dig their new outfits, though. And they're talking about the branding of the Avengers name. Bucky even mentions that he talked with Sam Wilson, Captain America, about it, which we remember from the end of Captain America Brave New World. Sam Wilson told Walking Taurus, he's like, yeah, I'm putting the Avengers back together. So he's been working on that, and then this happens. Yeah, I guess there's gonna be a legal issue over that. It's Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, Ghost, US Agent, and Sentry. The whole rebranding with a Z, yeah, that's not gonna work. Leave that in the 90s where it belongs. But the real important stuff comes right here. Because Yelena does mention that there is a space crisis going on, and they're not being told about it for some reason. I wonder what that's all about. We'll learn next year, I guess. But then they're notified by a little ping saying an extra-dimensional ship has entered the atmosphere, and we see what it is. The Fantastic Four have arrived! And I love the fact that we hear a little bit of that Michael Giacchino theme coming up. Bum, 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 bum. We cheered for that, of course. Because yeah, now the Fantastic Four have crossed over into our mainstream universe, which, hang on a second, that's kind of a spoiler giveaway for Fantastic Four First Steps, isn't it? Kind of, because yeah, we learned that they come from their universe over to ours. Either way, still really exciting though. So, in conclusion, Thunderbolts, or should I say the New Avengers, like I said, it's a solid film. I thought it was a pretty good way to end the MCU's Phase 5 cinematic run. Because now we're getting things in motion again, getting some teams up and running and back together to deal with what I'm sure is going to be a pretty huge and serious oncoming threat that will most likely once again change the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. But at least we'll have the New Avengers on our side, so that's probably a good thing. I enjoy this movie a lot. I love Sentry. He's probably my favorite thing about this movie, and I can't wait to see the part that he and the New Avengers will play in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. But until then, Thunderbolts, or should I say the New Avengers. What was your favorite thing or part of this movie? And where does it rank in your Phase 5 or Multiverse Saga or overall MCU hierarchy? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!